Hello, YouTube. This is Quantum Fear, and welcome to another one of my videos. With me, as always, on these particular videos is Xavier.
Good
Say
evening.
hello. And yeah. So first off, let's say Merry Christmas because it is the holidays.
Sure.
So
Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everyone.
yeah, that's right. And another thing, this might, I say might because we haven't discussed it, be a spoiler cast, as it were. You know, because very spoiler as far as the new Star Wars movie Force Awakens. It came out roughly a week ago around, and Xavier and I have both seen it at different times, and so there might be a pretty hefty amount of discussion. So I do recommend seeing the movie before you watch this video. I just want to get that out there.
That's
So, but if you don't care, by all means keep listening. If you do care, stop listening. But there's only like 4 or 5 of you anyway, so I don't think it'll make a big difference in the long run.
yeah. I imagine most people have seen it by now, and the ones that aren't, have either gotten spoilers or, like you said.
I actually ran into. Okay, first let's head off to where we're supposed to go, and we can start talking.
All right, so we are heading dead south.
Are we doing? Which one are we doing here?
They're all right next to each other, so we can.
Okay, I'll just follow you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ran into someone at work. She's a nice woman, and I say woman, she's our age, and she was like so excited about what she saw on the 7th movie. I'm like, oh, did you really like it? And she was like, yeah, I loved it. I'm like, great. And she says, so what about these other movies? And I'm like, what do you mean other movies? Well, there's like 7 others or 6 others of these, right? That's episode 7. And I'm like, you haven't seen the other 6 movies? She's like, no.
Ah!
So she saw the 7th movie without seeing the other ones. And I'm just like, really? Okay.
I'm not sure how to respond to that.
Yeah, no, I'm the same exact way. I'm just like, okay, sure, why not?
I mean, technically, I guess you could see this one without having seen any of at least the original trilogy, but at the same time, they reference so many things.
There were so many things that were just like, is BB-8 in all the other movies? I'm just like, no, he's not. She's like, oh, and what's about this R2 guy? I really didn't like him very much.
Oh no!
Like, what?
So after the beatings ended, how did the conversation go?
I told her it's like, well, BB-8 pretty much took R2's spot.
Yeah.
You pretty much will end up. Everybody likes R2. She's like, yeah, I guess. And what about? And how come R2 woke up like just when they needed him and all this other stuff? I'm like, it's the Force. She says, what's the Force? Just like,
Ow. Ow.
So this whole thing, I'm just like, I could imagine seeing the movie without seeing the other one.
Right. No, I mean, I absolutely couldn't. I mean, is it possible? Yes, but again, like you said, the reference.
It's possible. It's just it's just
well, I mean,
weird.
most of like a good portion of the main characters that drive the story are from the original trilogy, and you kind of have to like, oh, who are who are these two
she's
people?
like, why is this Luke guy so important? I mean, why is he just standing there and like where everybody can find him? And what if someone else wanted to find him? I'm like, well, then he'd move.
Yeah.
Just like what?
And apparently he did a pretty good job.
He's a Jedi Knight, and she's like, what the hell's that?
And apparently he did a pretty good job of hiding because he was gone for years, and even his sister didn't know where he was. So
yeah, exactly.
He wasn't exactly like rolling out the welcome mat for everybody. So.
Right. Well, I do like. I mean, he very much did a Yoda thing where he's like, I'm gonna go someplace else.
Yeah.
But at least he picked a better spot to do it.
Oh yeah,
less swamp.
Yeah, his place was actually rather scenic. I'm like, that's not a horrible place to hang out.
Yeah. So, okay, okay, go ahead. What'd you think?
I thought I had a lot of fun with it. My main goal for this movie was to see the original cast again, and I'll admit that the plot of the movie was pretty weak. I mean, it basically was A New Hope with a few elements of Return of the Jedi mixed in there. Ding, by the way.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But again, seeing Han and Leia and C-3PO and R2-D2 and Chewbacca and eventually Luke, seeing all those characters again, that was the part that I really enjoyed. I thought there was an amazing amount of humor in the movie that was well done. It wasn't that slapstick humor from the prequels.
Yeah.
It was witty dialogue. Han and Chewbacca basically giving each other a hard time.
I loved what they did with Chewbacca, to be honest.
Yes.
Where it was less him just standing in the background going, "Roar," and he actually had like humorous moments that you were just amazing, even though it was all body language.
Yes.
You're just like, ah, that's funny.
Yep. And I will say again, I mean, obviously we did the spoiler thing, so we're safe. So after Han dies, when Chewbacca was sitting by himself, basically crying, I felt so amazingly bad for him.
Oh, well, you have to remember, I mean, you know about as much of this as I do, but you know, Wookiees in their life debts.
Right.
You know, so he basically failed on something that I'm picking up parts, by the way.
Yeah, I'm all set with that. I'm just following you around.
He basically failed something that was like primary bit of his life. I mean, his whole goal in life was to protect Han.
Yes.
And he failed.
Right, and exactly. And that's why I was like, and that's kind of why I was really happy that he basically decided to. I have a feeling he kind of took Rey under his wing.
Right.
And I kind of like that because I was kind of wondering what purpose he was really going to serve, and not because the character only purpose was to you know, would be only useful for protecting Han, but he was really good at it, and that was what he'd done for so long. It's like that whole thing, like, you know, like the thing about if you have a goal for your entire life and then you suddenly get it, what next?
Yeah.
You know?
Now, were you surprised what happened to Han, though?
No.
Yeah, neither was
Given how much Harrison Ford has admitted that he's not a huge fan of the trilogy, what I was surprised about was how much he was in it.
Say that again?
Harrison Ford is not a huge fan of Star Wars.
Really? See, I had not heard that. I heard that he just felt the story would have been really good. I mean, the character would have done this. You know, would have sold his life to help the others.
Oh.
And I knew in the original trilogy he really wanted to do it. They just didn't.
Well,
I didn't know that he apparently didn't like.
Well, it's not some. Basically, if you've watched interviews with Harrison Ford, more so recently, but even back then, he thought the whole thing was a little on the goofy side. He did it because obviously, you know, George asked him to, and he'd worked with George Lucas before. But the reason why he got frozen in carbonite in Empire Strikes Back was because he wanted to be killed off because he was done.
Yep.
And,
right. And they weren't sure if he was going to come back, so they kind of just said, okay, we'll do this.
So George Lucas said, well, we'll freeze you, and that way if you change your mind, then we can still bring you back. And
yeah, see, I only found that out a little while ago.
Right. But at the same time, though, because of that, I knew he was going to be in it because obviously they've been talking about it forever, and I'm like, okay, well, he's probably going to have like a cameo part, kind of like the whole, you know, the passing of the torch kind of thing. So then when he was in it as much as he was, I was actually rather surprised by that. Yeah. But again, knowing how Harrison felt about the trilogy, and again, it wasn't that he hated it; he just thought it wasn't as big of a deal as, like for instance, you or I would have. You know,
no, I don't think any actor ever thinks that the part they play is as big a deal as the people who really enjoy it.
That's true. Well, Mark Hamill gets pretty close. Mark Hamill is fully aware.
Hamill, I mean, maybe, but he also has done this sort of things twice,
right.
Where he is a cult person. Can I do something with that?
Oh, we gotta kill him in order to be able to do the thing.
Oh, really? You can't just.
Yeah, I tried. It sucks. And unfortunately, there's like a bunch of us here.
No, I got it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Huh. There was one over there. Wouldn't let me do it.
Well, one I was about to get to and it disappeared. This one was fresh, so I kind of.
Boom.
That's right, dude.
So I was very happy with how much he was in the movie, given that I kind of expected this to be his last movie, and you know, I like the fact that like when you went down, you kind of were like, okay, it sucks, but you kind of understand what's going on with it.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting. I mean, I kind of, it was not a surprise, but when Leia had that kind of Jedi moment where she realized something that had happened, I'm like, oh crap. But again, honestly, I felt the worst for Chewie in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously Han died, so that kind of sucks. But Chewie obviously was left behind with the knowledge that he basically failed, and Chewie is too awesome for that to have happened to him. But I do, like I said, I like the comedy a lot. That was a big part. Is I laughed harder at this I think this is the hardest I've ever laughed at a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it was a much more modern movie, to be honest.
Right.
Where the original ones, you know, they were done in the 70s basically, so they just didn't have that same effect, which is a fairly not new, but I mean, it's something that happens in newer movies now.
And also, you know, I mean, not to disparage George Lucas because he gave us Star Wars, but he was not the best writer, so he didn't really have the ability to do the witty dialogue like we saw in this movie.
Sure.
So, because really the prequels was not about witty dialogue. The prequels, there was like some slapstick humor and there was some other stuff in there.
The prequels, I think, suffered from years of people having expectations. not necessarily high expectations, but they're like, there's two reasons why people watch the prequel, and this is it. Find out when Anakin turned into Vader, and the Vader Obi-Wan Kenobi fight. Those are the only reasons people actually watched it.
Right.
No one cared about who their mom was. I mean, seeing them born, that was kind of okay. We needed to have that.
That was just. I think we're way off course, by the way.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay, let's go. I mean, but really nobody cared. I mean, don't get me wrong. Natalie Portman, she's hot.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She was hot. She is hot, and she made an excellent queen. I'm not gonna, but really nobody cared. And that's kind of where the things goes wrong. Where a lot of evil, we'll say, is very internalized. It's like you don't generally become a, do that kind of stuff unless you, so you know what I mean by internalized?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, let's see here.
So, I mean, it's just this one.
And so that basically means that when he did it the way he did, people were just like, well, this is what I imagined.
Right.
And so people automatically gave it a big old, negative modifier.
Right.
On the other side of it, people really enjoyed the new movie. But then again, the new movie also borrowed supremely heavy from the other.
Oh, it was almost the script was almost a shot for shot remake of New Hope.
Right, exactly. Which I think had a lot of nostalgia effect.
Yes.
So people were just like, this is what the Star Wars I remember, so they automatically liked it more. I'm not saying it was bad. Far from it. It's a very good movie. But I think that so I don't know. I just have as a person who was a fan of the trilogy, the prequels, I kind of get really obnoxified on how mean people are towards George Lucas.
Right.
I mean, and which I don't really. Ooh, I got Ice Trap.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, and I think part of it is.
Okay, what do I got? I got two. Oh, that's not bad anymore.
I think George Lucas gets kind of the wrong end of a stick on a lot of things because obviously he admitted that the reason why he walked away from Star Wars and ended up selling it was because the fans wanted something different than he wanted, and he's like, I'm not going to do this justice because we don't want the same thing. So I think we're all done now.
I got one more.
One more for the Butcher Bot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do this right here. Got him. Okay.
So, which I kind of have to say I understand entirely why he decided to walk away.
Right.
And
I mean, what is it? You told me this, but where it's like George Lucas, what does he say? It's something about like he didn't know he was a jerk until the internet told him he was.
Yeah.
And apparently George Lucas is actually a really, really nice guy.
Oh yeah, he's actually a very nice guy.
And people wondered like, well, where did he go if for 20 or whatever years after doing really he directed. For those that don't know, he directed New Hope.
Yes.
Other people directed the other two original trilogies.
Right. And he was an executive producer on the other ones.
Now he did this from what I understand. Now I could be wrong, so bear with me. For two reasons. One, it was his health. Doing New Hope actually damaged his health quite a lot. He got very, very sick.
Lots of stress.
And so he had heart problems. And two, he adopted I think 3 kids.
2 or 3 kids. Yep.
2 or 3 kids, and so he actually made the conscious choice to take care of them over doing movies.
Right.
Now, the fact that he did the movies, he had the rights to the toys, he had all kinds of money, so he didn't need to do any more movies. And anybody who chooses to take care of their family above anything else cannot be a bad person.
Right.
And so I think he deserves all the respect in the world just for doing that alone. All whatever your opinion of the Star Wars movies are. Yeah, I needed to get that out. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so where are we going?
Let's go down and do scavenged first.
Okay, the Fire Rocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we were just...
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to the Star Wars movies.
Back to the Star Wars movies.
Okay, so I like what they did. Another random thing. I like what they did with the Stormtroopers. Not just cosmetically, which I thought was very nice. They weren't a huge change cosmetically they're pretty much what you remember.
Yep.
But what I do more specifically, they made them into elite stormtroopers.
Yes.
They weren't just guys who stood there and got shot as they go through doors. They were like,
they were almost like special. They actually
right. They actually showed them being, we are badass. We know what we're doing. We are killers.
Yeah, and they were effective. They actually hit things.
And they actually hit things, which I think was just perfect because really people make jokes about how bad their
aim was.
their aim is and stuff, and how they can't hit anything. And a lot of people tend to forget that stormtroopers hit. Oh wait, what are we supposed to do here? Oh shoot.
We gotta do the bot thing.
Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
It's okay.
A lot of people forget that they were, elite troopers, and so just because they couldn't hit the characters in a story, well, they had the power of, what do you call it, the power of narrative behind them?
No, the power of the script.
Power of the script,
yep.
Which means they can't get hit regardless, right. Unless it's in the script.
The only time they get shot is if the script dictates that they must get shot.
Right. So it made the stormtroopers turn out to be, not really good. But then when in this movie, the first thing you see is them like coming off of like an assault ramp kind of thing, and it was very D-Day.
It was.
And it was just like, oh my god! It was so very cool.
I agree. I think it set up the stormtroopers and the Empire there. It's like these are not idiots. Like this is a serious fighting force.
They do what they're told,
yes.
And so I really enjoyed that, where it made them more than just target.
Yes. I will say I was disappointed with Captain Phasma.
You know what? A lot of people were just like, so she didn't do anything. Why is she so important?
Right.
I'm going to reserve my judgment until the other movies.
Well, here's the thing. One of the reasons why everybody was excited is because the actress is in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I heard. Is Brianna.
Brienne of Tarth, and she's badass in Game of Thrones. She is awesome. So when people saw this, they went, holy crap, we have a badass, powerful woman playing this stormtrooper captain. This is going to be great. And then she didn't do anything.
Nothing happened.
At all.
She kind of walks around being very badassery with a black cape and a chrome, customized outfit.
Yep.
But she doesn't really do anything.
I don't even see. At no point did I even see her discharge her weapon.
I believe you're right. I have only seen it once, and I could not confirm nor deny. Right. But I'm pretty sure you're right.
So my hope is.
I'm up to 10. How many?
I'm at 10. Yep. So my hope is that she escaped the destruction of the planet.
I assume so. She looked a little too important. She had costumes on.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure she's going to come back. Now, my big thing is she going to be Rey's mother?
Oh, God. No.
If they pull that off, I'll be kind of disappointed, to be honest.
Right now.
Or they do the I'm your mother, just like, fuck, no.
The prevailing hope I think I've seen right now is that Rey is Luke's daughter.
Yeah, that's kind of my going. And actually, if you really think back, you'll notice that Luke was actually standing over what looked like a tombstone. Mm-hmm. And I'm betting that's the mother.
Could be, yep.
We just don't know who she was.
Yeah, but it does seem it seems weird that Luke, who was abandoned himself, would do the same thing to his kid.
Yeah, well, true.
But
I wonder if she was part of this academy or whatever that he failed on, and so him leaving her on another planet was his way of. The only way he could think of is to save her.
Right. Could be kind of like they did with Luke. They basically hit him on a planet saying, just go here. Nobody. It's like Jakku was kind of like Tatooine. Nobody's going there unless they have to.
Right. Exactly. And so and this is all actually someone else's idea, where basically it was because the Jedi something happened there with
Kylo Ren,
the new kid, whatever the heck his name is. I'm not going to learn his name until he proves that he's better than he actually is.
Yes. Well, yeah. He's powerful, but I think he's pretty untrained. It's obviously he left his training early, and this.
Well, that's just it. I mean, there's one guy I was listening to. He's just like, this whole thing about Sith is that they admit that they train the person that's going to kill him. Well, maybe this new guy said, "Screw that! I'm not going to train these guys."
Right. I'm going to make them just powerful enough to do stuff, but not so powerful they can take me down.
Right, and so maybe that's when we still have to do the rock things.
Yeah, I know, but we have to come back through here because if you look at the map, it's to the upper right is the other one.
In the water.
So. Oh, now they want to get us. Okay, it's up to you. Do you want to do the rocket thing, or do you want to do the
let's go get the hyenas.
All right, hyenas are right over here.
Yeah, right, and I thought that was pretty funny. The thought of that, where it's just like, I'm not going to train this guy because he's going to kill me.
Yeah.
And eventually, but at the end, they're like, all right, bring him in. He kind of needs to get trained. One of the things that really bothered me. Quite a lot actually was one of the fights at the end between Finn and the new guy.
Yeah, and Kylo. Yeah,
right, because any other bad guy from Star Wars, if any of them had seen another person pick up a lightsaber, they would have just cut him in half in 4 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It would not even have been a thing. But this guy actually kind of had trouble. And I was just like, what the hell is that?
You have to remember though, he also was severely wounded.
Well, true.
I mean,
But that,
Chewbacca hit him. Chewbacca hit him in the lower
in
abdomen
the stomach.
with a.
True, but anybody else, it wouldn't have mattered. He would have done. You see, some of these, apparently you got to get there just before they're fresh. So otherwise, they don't count. You can't use them because I haven't gotten any of these.
Either
How
way.
about you? Yeah. And so that was one of my big things is that anybody else would have just said, okay. And this guy proved this Ren guy proved it. I mean, he caught a blaster bolt in midair. That was very cool.
That was really cool. That was a cool start. I like how at the very, I'm like, it was still, I'm like, as they were leaving, I'm like, the blaster bolts. There we go.
I was just like, oh my god, look at that thing. That was really badass, to be honest. And it proves that he has the raw power to do this. But as pointed out to me by other people, because I was just, I'm pretty much looking for reasons why this should not be a good movie. Because I'm petty that way.
Well, you're being critical of something that you care about. That's.
Yeah. Oh, what's this glowy disc thing?
I think it's a leftover from someone's ability that's just spazzing out.
Oh, a bug or something?
Yeah, because you're right. It's like, it looks like someone's shield just spinning there.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
All right, we gotta wait for
Respawns.
respawns. This is unfortunate. Oh well.
Well, gives us more time to talk.
Yeah.
Search around.
Beast. Where's my beast tracker thing? How come my beast tracker thing's not picking these up?
Right. I was like, we have a tracker.
Yeah, but for a second I was just like, oh, not picking up these. There are two other people here besides us.
Yeah. Well, it's been getting into the holiday. More and more people have the time off, so I imagine this weekend is going to be crazy busier. Yep.
Let's kill all these suckers.
Yeah, be faster.
I don't care. Doesn't matter.
Well, no, you got.
I mean, these are going to be fresh enough that we can still. Yeah, there we go. Better. Because you don't have to take credit. You just got to be there, like, soon enough before the. Before, like, I guess rots or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes a certain amount of sense.
Yep.
Right. So, but as pointed out to me, is that one, the kid's 25.
Mm-hmm.
He's very much acting like a scared teenager, and which I think is what the point of it was.
Right. He's emotionally immature because of.
Right, and then you can't really compare him to, like, say, Darth Vader, has a good 30 years on him.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time, Darth Vader is in constant pain.
Yep.
And so he's learned to focus this pain, apparently, in so that he has better control over the Force and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just like, okay, I suppose. Apparently, the fact his lightsaber kind of frizzles and fits, it's not like a solid red, is also on purpose, saying that it's a substandard lightsaber.
Right.
Which I was like, okay, I suppose. And so I was just like, okay, I can understand all this. There are books called The Aftermath that I'm tempted to pick up and read because I guess there's a fair amount of information in these that which are handy to have in this kind of situation to kind of make sense of stuff.
Right.
Oh, that reminds me. By the way, that planet that got blown up was not Coruscant.
Okay. I figured they would. I figured they would have said something if it was actually.
Apparently, to keep the New Republic Senate safe, they had a habit of moving the Senate from place to place.
Ah.
And this is just where the Senate happened to be.
Okay.
And they say that the reason they can say that is because the Coruscant is not in the same sector as this weapon.
Okay, that's what that makes sense.
So, and sectors are huge.
Yes.
So
that was one thing.
Okay.
That was one thing about the movie, but this is a J.J. Abrams thing. Is he likes to do the instantaneous travel thing, where like he'll skip over a lot of the travel stuff and just be where he needs to be because he wants to keep the movie moving along. The problem with that came into is it didn't seem like they were in a very large area. It seemed like this all happened like in one solar system.
Yeah.
And
I'm bugging or something. Hold on.
Yep, I just got dumped out.
All right, let's go back in. Yeah, and so I was like, oh, because everybody thought that. I was just like, was that Coruscant? Did he just blow up Coruscant?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Oh, the world server's down.
Oh, that's funny. This may be a quick video. And
man, we were just getting into our.
Yep, world server is down.
Okay, so what do we do?
Give me 1 second while we check the round list and see.
Oh wait, I'm getting back in here.
Well, the round is up. It's just that world that's down, which is weird.
Okay, I am back in. I think.
Are you?
Oh, the taskbar's loading. Nope, world server's down. So what do you want to do?
Well, it's up to you. It's your video. I mean, it's kind of not much of a video to watch when it's just the loading screen and us talking about Star Wars.
We were just getting into it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? Well, I guess we'll cut it here. Sorry, folks. We will continue our conversation about Star Wars. Xavier and I can really battle over, not discuss this, and actually, it was a pretty good discussion, pretty continuously.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, we have been for 30 some odd
yeah, have been
years.
for years. We'll be back to talk about the movie in more depth. Phoenix has seen it, and so
Oh, good.
This time, what's that?
I said good. That way she can discuss it with.
Yeah, and
next
so
time.
she can kind of give us a perspective of someone who likes the movies, but isn't necessarily like, I'm going to read all the books and play the games kind of thing. So,
yeah, because we can get a bit intense.
right. So, yeah, so all of you out there, go see the new Star Wars. Go see the old Star Wars because they're important. And have a good one. And have a safe and happy holiday.
Exactly. Have a very happy holidays, everyone. And if for some reason we don't get back on before New Year's, have a happy New Year.
Yeah, see ya.